Morning, good afternoon, everybody. Thank you so much for joining this webinar. To introduce myself, I'm SK, currently leading the pre-sales and customer success function for Zoho Contracts. So we'll begin this webinar in a couple of minutes. We are having more attendees to join this webinar, and we'll begin in a couple of minutes. Thank you so much for your understanding. Right. Thank you so much for your patience, audience. Glad to meet you all again. So let's begin this webinar. Let me just quickly share my screen and we'll take this forward. So in today's webinar, we are going to see how we are going to connect Zoho Forms and Zoho Contracts using the power of Zoho Flow, which is going to help you ease off your contract requests from your legal team, and how that's going to automate your contract creation and as well as your counterparty creation in Zoho Contracts. To do this integration, we are going to use an integration platform called Zoho Flow, and that's how I've built a flow and a use case for you today. So sit back, relax, and enjoy. Let's dig in. The audience will be getting the recording after this session is over. So in the session, at any point of the time, you can feel free to ask your questions. We'll be happy to answer them for you. And the audience will be on mute by default throughout the session, right? So the agenda is pretty simple. What I'll do is I'll quickly introduce the product Zoho Forms and Contracts. Then what are the exact challenges that are faced by the legal team in today's contract management scenarios, and how we are going to automate the contract creation process by integrating Zoho Contracts and Zoho Forms using the power of Zoho Flow. And this live use case will be demoed at the end. So let me just quickly introduce Zoho Forms. So Zoho Forms is a complete data collection tool where you can configure it as per your need, customize it, or embed it in your website. And it's a simple tool to get any data collected from websites or anywhere and store it very easily, which has a lot of integration benefits as well. So to start with, anywhere we go outside, we have the habit of filling a lot of details when a form is given to us. And now that the world is going paperless, a solution like Zoho Forms can definitely help in terms of getting all those data and stored very easily, which can be then formulated or used in different applications like CRM or any other application like books to get those data sorted. And that is going to ease off a lot of data, which is going to be processed from the forms, and that can be extracted to reports or probably, scale it up accordingly. So here This is going to eliminate the paperwork ideally, and it's going to reach a wider audience so that you can easily get data from a lot of customers or prospects that you're looking for based on the business that you're making. And the data collection can be easily automated for further processing, and the ability to access the data is going to be critical, right? So that is something that the product is going to help you out. In terms of building a form, it's a no code drag and drop builder where you can easily build all those fields. You can drag and drop the fields and build your form accordingly. You can customize it, add your own themes, and make it even more better and easily embed it in your website. The integration that we provide within Zoho ecosystem as well as third party, we have the ability to connect it with Zoho CRM, Zoho Begin, Sign, Desk, Sheet, Campaigns, and and more than 1,000+ applications out there in the market, which is also not just Zoho applications, but the third-party applications that are there in the market. So you'll be able to seamlessly connect Zoho Forms and get this data processed as per the ecosystem that you are currently in. Let it be Microsoft or let it be Google. You'll be able to easily connect it with those applications and get the data processed. Let's introduce the star product of the day, Zoho Contracts. So Zoho Contracts is a complete contract lifecycle management software provided by Zoho. So in terms of features, let me just walk you through the basic ones that we have. The product is capable of helping you out in terms of building your templates. So contract templates is the core. You can easily build your contract types from scratch. You have a word processor given inside to draft your contracts and author it. You can configure approval workflows and sort out the approvals, negotiate your contracts with your vendors or your customers, then execute the contract for digital signatures with the power of Zoho Sign. So Zoho Contracts and Zoho Sign are bundled together. So both the applications come under a single roof. And in terms of post-award management and compliance and governance, you have the ability to track obligations, manage obligations. And from the change management perspective, you can amend your contracts, renew your contracts, extend your contracts, and terminate your contracts. And for the governance, analytics, and reporting is going to help you out a lot. A lot. It's going to give you all the necessary data from the metadata that is provided within the application. So let's take a look at a scenario here. So this is my story. So I have Stephen here. Stephen is a legal associate and he is working. And the duties that he has to do in a CLM is pretty straightforward. So every day when Stephen comes to office, he'll be logging in into this application. He will check the dashboard where he gets complete visibility on all the contracts that are going on. So he sees what are the contracts that are in draft stage, approved, negotiated, signed, and active. He also sees all the pending contracts, what are the contracts that he has to approve or the legal team has to approve. And on the right side, a calendar which is going to display all the expiring contracts and renewable contracts over here. So all these aspects would be seen by Stephen. And once that is done, if he's newly onboarded, he'll also monitor the contract templates. So he will revise the clauses. He'll be seeing how the templates are performing. He will have access to the clause library where he can structure the contract as per the need of the organization and work on these perspectives, right? And once the template configuration is done, he will also monitor the approval workflows where he will create who has to approve what type of contract. Now that is determined by the admin, right? So Steven is an admin and he's going to take care of all these configurations. And once the approvals are set, then he'll also monitor what are the contracts that are created. So for example, let's say that this is a PSA which is created by Steven. He will drive the life cycle of the contract. Say like, sending it for, approvals, collaborating with internal stakeholders, sending it for negotiations, and running the entire life cycle of the contract is something that Steven will also do. Now, there are different roles, I would say. So contract owners can also do that, but just giving you a perspective on how Steven is occupied in all these activities on a daily basis. Now, this is the redlining that is done by the counterparty. So once Steven is sending this contract for negotiation, the counterparty or the customer will be able to easily redline this contract and send it back. Now that is also being tracked. Now, once that is done, the contract will also go for signature through Zoho Sign, and he will initiate the contract for signatures. And if there is a need for post award management like amendments, terminations, or extensions, that will also be done by Steven. Now there are a lot of activities again as part of the post award. So one key is adding the obligations to the contract. So Steven will also track all the obligations that are going in the organization. So provided based on the bandwidth that he has or his legal team has. He has all these activities to be tracked in a CLM. Now, talking about the reports. So this is where the product is going to provide a lot of insights for Steven to see how the contracts are performing, what is the status, what are my active contracts, what are the clause-based reports that I have, what are the user-based reports that I have. Everything is something that can be tracked by Steven. Now, this area, this is where an actual contract is being created. Now, to create a contract, Steven has to fill these details. Now, this is a detail that not every time, Steven should know about it, right? Sometimes the contract request can also flow from any other department. Let it be IT, let it be marketing, let it be maintenance, any department that needs a contract request. The basic details include the title, who's the counterparty, what is the start date, what is the end date, what is the renewal details. Now, all this information has to flow in this form. Now, this is the problem that Steven is currently facing. Steven is not able to accumulate all this data to create a contract, and he has to rely and depend on these other departments to get those insights. Now, this is where Steven is getting frustrated, right? So his job is too much and overwhelming, and he is not able to get all those data and insights into the contracts module to create all those contracts. Now, this is where life is getting darker for him. Now, I'm going to show you on how we are going to automate this with the power of Zoho Contracts, Zoho Flow, and Zoho Forms. Let me reshare my screen again. In the meantime, I have my colleague Akil here who will be running a few polls. So feel free to engage on those polls and give your valuable insights. This will help us understand our audience better. And if you really like this use case and if you would like to implement such a solution, please do let us know. We will be happy to implement the solution for you. Just give me 1 minute here and we will dive into the demo. Sharing my screen again. Right. This is the product, so contracts, and this is Zoho Forms. So I have created a contract request form here. Let me show you how I have built it. So let's assume that my company name is Coromandel. And in this contract request form, I have a few fields like the contract type, customer name, customer email, customer address. And this description of services is something that will go into my contract template. So let me just fill this form and show you like how the flow works. Or let me just quickly navigate on how I've built this flow. Just a second. So in this flow, I've built using the trigger entry submitted on the form from Zoho Forms. When this form is submitted by any of the representatives, let it be my organization or let it be counterparty, what happens is that a counterparty in Zoho Contracts gets automatically created based on the customer email and the customer name that we provide in the form. And then what happens is a contract also gets created. Now for this, I have used a custom solution since I'm passing a lot of values. For example, if I want to pass the description of services that I provided, I'm using a simple custom function using the APIs of Zoho Contracts. Just a bit of customization when I'm using Deluge. So let me show you the sample code here. Using this code, I have automated the contract creation by passing the values. So I will show you now how the flow works. All I have to do is go to this form, select the template. Let's assume that it's a master services agreement. So the customer name is, let's say, Corp. Oops. Yeah. Customer email is something like this. And the description of services can be vendor procurement services, goods for manufacturing. I'm entering a value here. Can use a different email. Now, once this form is submitted, what happens is that in Zoho Contracts, a counterparty gets created under the name Apple Corp, as you see it here. And simultaneously, a contract is also created. Now, this agreement with Apple Corp is created, capturing the description of services provided here. Vendor procurement services, goods for manufacturing. So it is as simple as that. So you can customize this form. Let's say that you have a lot of variables in this template. You'll be able to easily add those fields into the template and fetch any information from this form. I have more fields to be added. You can customize the themes. Now, all that is something that you can customize as per your need. So these are some default themes that are available, which I used. You can customize it as per your need, and you can also see it how it looks in a mobile phone if somebody is requesting a form or in a tablet. Hope this gives clarity. Now, a similar functionality is something that we also incorporated in Zoho Contracts. Let me show you the newest edition that we have right now. So we have a feature that we rolled out very recently called the intake forms, where for each type of contract, you can automate this process using this request form. Now, your question would be, now, if this is a feature that Zoho Contracts already has, why would I use Zoho Forms and Zoho Flow? So I'll give you the context here. So this contract request form is something that is for your organization members only. So if there is a contract request that comes from any other department in your organization, and your organization users have to use this form to request a contract, then this would perfectly work. You don't require Zoho Forms, you don't require Zoho Flow. Now, if there is a form that you create for your counterparties and you have it on your website, for example, let's say if somebody has to request a contract first in order to get in touch with you, or get some orders placed in your website, then that particular form can be created and this form can be embedded in your website, where your counterparty can provide their information directly, which will automatically create a contract in Zoho Contracts. Now that is the difference here. So either use a contract creation form using the intake forms for your organization members, which can be shared, and they don't even need a user license to access this form and request a contract. Or if you want your counterparty or clients or customers to use a form to create a contract, then you can use the solution that I mentioned, where you can connect Zoho Forms and Zoho Contracts together using Zoho Flow. This is the use case that I have here today. Now, should you have any other questions so far, you can feel free to ask your questions. And then I'll show you like what are the next set of activities that will happen in Zoho Contracts after the contract is created. Meantime, once again, I recommend everybody to take participation in the polls so that we can understand your use cases or feedback better. We'll be able to understand you better and we can serve accordingly. Let's have a quick Q&A round now. If you have any other questions, do feel free to drop by in the QA box. Leave a couple of questions here. Good question. Are the contracts set up for various countries? Yes, you can definitely create or request contracts for uh, respective region or country you're talking about. you have any questions, you can ask now. And I'll quickly share my screen again and I'll show you like what are the rest of the activities that you'll be doing in the contract. We have some questions. Does the contract functionality include employee contracts? Of course, you can include a template that is being used for your employees. You can put it as a contract type inside the system and then use it to create contracts for your employees. Question. So if I send a contract to the client, does he get a copy after he fills the form? So the contract is ultimately created in your portal. You can probably download it and send it with your client, or probably use our APIs to download the document and automate that process also. So that depends on the solution that you build using Deluge and custom functions. So ideally, once the contract is signed by both the parties, by default, the counterparty will be getting the signed document. Have templates existing in contracts? Yes, of course. We do have 14 predefined templates in the system that you can use, or probably you can create your custom contract templates by yourself, or you can also upload an existing docx that you have been using in your organization. To get partnership of this contract, I'm already being partner of Zoho Books. We can certainly assist you with that. So we have a partnerships team dedicated for our partners to help you understand about Zoho contracts and guide you on those aspects. So please do feel free to reach out to support@zohocontracts.com and we will loop you in with our partnerships team. Can be connected to books and CRM. So Zoho Contracts does offer an integration with CRM as an out-of-the-box solution. For books, we don't have a native out-of-the-box solution right now, but we would love to hear your use case based on which we can recommend Zoho Flow, where you can connect Zoho Books and Zoho Contracts together using Zoho Flow, using the APIs and customization capabilities. We can create a certificate. We would like to understand your requirements here, Yogesh. So feel free to share your feedback with our support team and we will get in touch with you and understand your requirements in detail. Let me just have a question for your polls. So now let's take participation in the polls, audience. So which of these products that you see on screen are you using right now? Do feel free to share your responses. Give 30 seconds for this and I'll be asking your next question. Thank you. Now my next question is, how many of you would like to have a demo, a product consultation of Zoho Contracts? If yes, you can feel free to register for a demo. I'll be showing you a QR code right now. Just a second. You can scan this QR code from your side to register for a demo of Zoho Contracts. You'll be getting a one-on-one product consultation for Zoho Contracts. And if you would like to enable the use case that we talked about today, you can feel free to let us know and we will do the same for you. Now, one last question for you. Would you like to implement this workflow in your organization? You can let us know yes or no, and we will be able to reach out to you and guide you accordingly. Okay. So if you have already engaged on the polls, that's great. We look forward to catching up with you on that. Now I'll reshare my screen. I'll give you a quick glimpse on what are the rest of the activities that will happen on the contract. So let's take this contract over here. Once the contract is created, it goes for a lifecycle run. It goes for a completion of draft. And before that, if you want to include any collaborators, you can also do that. You can share this with your internal stakeholders, give them the respective permissions and share. Approvals, it'll go as per the approval workflow that is configured. I'll complete the draft. So if I have to submit this contract for approval, what will happen? It will go to the respective approver and they will get an email that I have to approve the contract. I can also see that clearly here from the dashboard. So all I have to do is click here and then approve the contract. Once the contract is approved, the next stage would be sending the contract for negotiation. Negotiation typically happens through a password protected link where your customer can easily access the contract, the OTP, and do the redlining. So I will show you how your counterparty or your client works on this particular aspect for negotiation. Once the contract is sent for negotiation from your side, you'll be able to clearly see what is the activity that is going on within the contract. Email, whether it has been sent, whether it has been viewed, or whether the changes has been done. This is the email that the client receives. All they have to do is click this contract, enter the password. Password will be received in the next 5-10 seconds. This is the password. So they'll be copying this, pasting it over here, and then click view. Here they will be able to review it. And if it's a first time for them negotiating in this user interface, we will give them a tour option over here by default, where they can clearly see how to view the contract information, how to suggest changes, how to add comments, and how to request or add more reviewers from their side, and then finish the review. So here, since I am the counterparty, I can clearly make all the redlining from my side. If you want, I can also include a comment. This area needs refinement. Then I finish the review and I get it back over here. I just proposed. Comment sent. Now what happens? Once the counterparty finishes the review, I will get a review pop-up message with a number of changes, comments. This completely gives me all the insights that I need in one GIF. Here, I can agree to the terms and conditions, accept or reject it, resend it for negotiation, and take it forward. Here I can respond to the comments and resolve it. Accept the changes or reject the changes from here. If I do that, I mark the contract as negotiated. This will go for final approval. Here it will go for a routine approval before it is being executed for signatures. For signatures, I'll be adding the signers over here. Representing both the organizations. And it goes for signing. If I want to copy receivers, I can also do that. If I want to set number of days before which the contract has to be completed, all those details can be configured here. Even I can enable the authentication method and preferences over here. After I do this, I initiate this contract for execution. Sometimes not every contract needs negotiation, right? So you can also skip it. Initiate it for signature. So this will go through Zoho Sign. I've already automated all the signature fields for my document. Then after drag and drop this, all I have to do is quick send. Both the signers, based on the signing order or if it is parallel, they will receive the emails to sign the contract. Sample email would be like this. Yeah. So all I have to do is click start signing, proceed to the document, to the terms and conditions, then complete it. Here, sorry, here I have to click, select my signature or upload it and fill the respective fields that I have to do and finish it. Once the contract is executed, let me show you a sample active contract that is signed by both the parties. This is how the contract would be. The original document would be displayed here for amendments and the original signed contract will be available here as a PDF. Also be getting a certificate of completion from Zoho Sign tracking all the important information. Pretty much it. Now from here, you'll be able to create obligations, manage the post-award management, get hands-on reports, everything to sort your contracts within the application. So that's it with the product and today's use case. So I'll quickly stop sharing my screen and I'll take any more questions before we wrap this up. I'll show the QR code again. One sec. To register for the demo. May attach file and contract. Yes, of course. We do have an attachments module. You can attach your contracts, the additional documents with your contracts. So audience, please feel free to share any questions if you may have. We'll have an extended QA session for the next 5 minutes before we quickly wrap this up. So if anybody liked today's use case, feel free to share your feedback. If you want this to be implemented, we can also support you through that. You can reach out to us at support@zohocontracts.com. If you're looking for a personalized one-on-one product consultation with our product experts, use the QR code to sign up for the demo. We'll be happy to see you over there, understand your requirements, and customize it to your needs. Any more questions? All right, then. I think we are good to go. Okay, we have a question here. I already have Zoho contracts but need training. You can reach out to our support. We will help you with this configuration. We can surely help you with this. So do feel free to reach out to our support and we'll do that for you. I think we are good to go for now. Willing to know by one-on-one session. Sure, of course. You can register for that and we'll be able to guide you on a one-on-one session. Happy to do that. So, all right then. Thank you so much for joining today. You've been lovely. We look forward to catching up with you for more use cases and more scenarios soon. Thanks for joining today. Have an amazing rest of the day. Looking forward to catching up in future sessions. See you. Bye bye. Yes.